His question is, who's the next critical player that should be signed, Creed, Trey, or Bolton?
Mhm.
And that ties to a story by Nate Taylor of New York Times, who said that the Chiefs hope to extend Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith within the next month. And I think obviously that ties perfectly because that's right. We have 31 days before the season starts. They want to get it done within the next month, so they want to have this a bow wrapped on these contracts by the time the season starts. And they already started with Butker, but now specifically Creed and Trey Smith were named. Nick Bolton was not named, so that's an interesting one. So JD, of those, who's the next critical player of the three guys right there between Bolton, Creed, and Trey Smith?
I mean, all three guys are great players. They really are, and not only just great players, but they're the ones, man, that help us win. I mean, Bolton's he's the guy on defense. Creed and Trey are anchors in our offensive line. So without any three of these guys, you could tell a bit of a difference. As far as like offensive linemen or linebackers. So mine would be probably Creed. If I'm going Creed, it would be Creed, Bolton, Trey would be that's how I would look at it. That would be my list of guys. Okay. Priority. So Creed, we obviously know that he's probably the number one center, okay, arguably in the NFL. Bolton, I think he's a guy that without a doubt anchors our defense, okay? He makes everybody around him better because of his football IQ. But not only that, but his leadership. So having a guy like that makes a ton of tackles, puts guys in the right place where it needs to be. Spags has talked a lot about that, what Bolton brings to the game. And so he tells about a drop-off, like guys, like when you have Bolton out there, makes everybody's job easier. And then Trey's been doing a great job for us, and he's just been kicking tail ever since he's been here. Started as a rookie, like Creed and Bolton. All three of these guys started as a rookie. So that would be my priority: Creed, Bolton, Trey. So
it's interesting that you say that Trey Smith was third on that, because I mean, I guess my whole thing is we talk about all the time. We have the Brinks truck back there. You got to protect him at all costs. And I feel like linebacker has become one of those positions. And Bolton is all world. He shows it every year. He's a badass when he's not there. Although we have good play from the other guys like Cam Jones or Jack Cochran, still pretty significant when he's not there. You notice when Bolton's not there, the anchor of our defense, as you mentioned. But I feel like linebackers has become one of those positions like running back, where it's like, we're not going to pay up for that. We're going to let you. You're going to let the contract go. We're going to let you go. And we see this season. Patrick Queen went elsewhere this year. A few other like linebackers went elsewhere this year. Guys who were drafted pretty high, right within around the same range as where Bolton was drafted. And you just see teams letting these linebackers walk without paying them. That's where it's like when it comes to the guard or linebacker. What's easier to find, that the guy in the middle or that guard who can protect the Brinks truck?
So I would say probably, in my estimation, probably a guard would be easier to find. A middle linebacker, a guy that's effective, that can put everybody in a position of where they need to be, is very hard to find, especially that, as a leader. And when you don't have a good linebacker, you could tell. If you don't have a good linebacker core, it's a big difference on defense. It just really is. And so, especially like up front, if you don't have guys that are like doing a great job and stopping the run or getting pressure on the quarterback, your linebackers, they have to be stellar. They have to be. And so it's always hard to find a good linebacker like that, like Bolton. That's the reason we got him in the draft, because we knew he was a leading tackler in the SEC. Okay. And he just carried it over into the NFL. So I will put Bolton as one of the top guys. I know, and a lot of people talk about Bolton. I don't know why they talk about Bolton like he's just not that guy, because he is. And he's been that guy for us for a long time, since he's been here. I know Drew them came in and played well, did a great job. But then there were still some things that Drew and those guys couldn't necessarily do that Bolton could. Like Drew's a little bit small against the run. He's a former safety, and, there's some different things as far as like the physicality of what Bolton brings to the table, as far as different from what Drew did. Jack Cochran, who backs them all up, did a great job, man. But I still wasn't voting out there. If I'm sitting there saying this is a guy that I need to have on my defense, he is one of them for sure. So if I'm sitting over saying priority on defense, Chris Jones is definitely one. Okay, Nick Bolton had to be one of my top three. That's me. Okay, so I understand the significance of having a guy like that. Now we go to the guard. Okay, the Chiefs have brought in centers and guards in this draft and free agents. There's a lot of them. They're actually having guys play musical chairs around the offensive line. I wonder why that is. Well, I don't have to wonder why. We understand this is a business. And so they're sitting there saying, if a guy can play to this ability, to this level, they don't mind releasing somebody because of money. Because then it comes down to business-wise. If they find somebody, and I've heard from one of the greatest guards that ever played the game, Will Shields. Will Shields used to tell me all the time, JD, every single day they're trying to replace you. That's what they're trying to do. This is coming from a Hall of Fame guard, one of the greatest guards that ever played a game in Kansas City, played a game in the NFL. He said this. He understood that as good as you become, the more money you make, that's how you become expendable. And so guys that making a whole lot of money or asking a whole lot of money in certain positions, they don't mind walking away. They can let a guy go. Case in point, Snead. Oh, we can't do without Snead. Well, shoot, well, guess what? They let him walk. Oh, man, guess what? We let Tyreek Hill walk, okay? Tyreek, who became number one on the NFL list. I love that video for one, okay? And number two, congratulations to him, okay? I think he's deserving of it. I think him and Pat could have been one or two, but, whatever. But it's two guys, Chiefs, who play together, and that's the way I look at it. But going back to what I was saying, you just find yourself with being expendable when you have other guys who can play your position, maybe not as good, but just as good for less money. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, you make a great point with we've seen Niang playing guard, we've seen Caliendo playing guard, Norzad we drafted to play kind of a Swiss Army knife all over the place, McCade, CJ Hansen, guys who can play all positions, specifically guard. A lot of them mostly are kind of Swiss Army knives within the interior offensive line. And honestly, like we saw it last year, and we've seen it the last few years where we have guys who come off the bench and having to go in and play guard during the Super Bowl. I mean, and we got guys who made contracts of coming in and playing a spot guard for us here and there and being stars on other teams. So, that's, yes, you can make the point saying, oh, yeah, well, Cochran came in and played really well when Bolton was out. Sure. Yeah, he did. But, big difference there, the fact that we have so many guys who can play those positions and the fact that, yes, we didn't really go after linebacker in this draft. We undrafted free agent, probably one of the best undrafted free agents, Curtis Jacobs, who apparently is blowing it away in training camp so far. So that's a guy who could potentially, be a rotational guy. But also, linebacker room, pretty deep. But yeah, you're right. We went out and we sought after the interior offensive lineman guys in this draft and in the UDFAs. So that tells you a lot. When you have this. So let me ask you, when a report like this comes out, is this more for a team that they want to get this out there so there is some goodwill with that player so there's no bad blood going into the season? Even if their intention is not to re-sign and they're going to go in a different direction, but they still want to get that out there like, hey, we are trying to make a concerted effort to keep you around?
No, I don't think so. I heard Trey speak about this, I think, last week, and he was sitting there saying, look, I'm not worried about contract talk or any of those things. I'm just here to play football and just be as good as I possibly can. And so as long as you don't have to worry and think about those things and let the agents and them deal with it, that's fine. You don't want anything to become a distraction. And of course, you get up and, hey, what do you think about the contract? This, he's like, look, man, everything's going to take care of itself. If they want me here, they're going to want me here. And so as long as I'm playing well, I'm doing my job, they love it, then hopefully, they'll reward me for my hard work and what I've been giving to the team. But, to put that on the guy's plate, man, to worry about this coming in, I think this could possibly be a distraction. I think Trey Smith said it best. He said, look, man, I just want to be the best guard I could possibly be. And so he's not worried about any of that right now. So I commend him for that because I do believe that you have to have a sense of focus on what you're doing, your job. and don't worry about what can happen in the future, man. You just got to take care of all those things right now today. So,
yeah, it's similar to the Snead situation, both in the guard room and the linebacker room, very deep at those positions. Maybe not the high power that Bolton and Trey Smith, they're not maybe not at the top of their game like those two are, but you got a lot of guys who can contribute respectively at this position. So it's gonna be interesting to see which way they go between the guard and Bolton. Hi everybody, thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.